Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today is an emergency review on the new Norvina palettes by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Now, I've done one of these before on the Tartelette Toasted palette because I did not like that palette. It created major problems for me. It was like one of my least favorite palettes I've ever touched. It was getting really good reviews, so that's why I bought it, and I was like, oh, really cool. So this has also been getting really good reviews that I've kind of seen, but I just tend to disagree with those reviews, and I want to give you another opinion. I wanted to give you another insight into why I don't like this palette, why I don't think that it's worth your money, because I really don't think that it's worth your money at all. Like, it's really just not very good. I don't like it. I don't like it. There's a lot of problems with it that I don't like. This is not something that I would reach for. This is not something I would buy. Again, I already bought it. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about these different things and give you another perspective, because I genuinely want to save you money. I don't want you spending your money on something that you're not gonna like, and help you out in any way that I can, because I've been there before and I still am there, where I watch what I spend. You know, makeup is not a necessity. Sometimes I think that it is, but it's really not a necessity. So this is not something that you need, in my opinion. Feel free to disagree with me. That's totally fine. Kind of like I've been saying, if you like it, then buy it. If you like it, then buy it, but I don't like it, so I'm just gonna give you my opinion and my review. Tried to film this video yesterday. It went really bad. I was just like, you know what, this is just not happening today. I need to like just stop, because my makeup was not only was my makeup not turning out well, I was just not enthusiastic about this palette. I was like, there's something wrong with it. If I was not on YouTube, let's just get real, I would not have bought this palette. This is a $42 palette. So I ordered this on the 17th when it launched, July 17th, and it got here by 7:20. So I got here yesterday. Today's 7:21, and it was $42, and I did free shipping. It was free 3-day shipping. I did buy this palette myself. I did not get it in PR. I do have that to my benefit, and I can honestly say, you know, is this worth $42? And in my opinion, no. Off the bat, I have to be honest, this is not something that I would personally buy it myself. Even if I worked at Sephora, I don't even think I would buy it. I don't know how to like explain this. This is just the palette that the daughter of Anastasia Beverly Hills, Claudia, made. I don't know much about her. I just know that she is a very creative soul, and that's very great for her, and she is usually behind a lot of like the product launches, and she's very involved in the company, which is really great. However, my money doesn't really care about that. First things first, I just want to show you guys, here's like an up close of the palette so you can see. Very cool. Comes with a brush as always. The brushes are usually pretty good, except for this side is just awful. It's just, and no matter what palette you're using, it's gonna have like a lot of kick up because it's just really stiff and just, yeah, this is the palette right here, and it's, you know, people are like, oh, it's a cool tone palette, you know, whatever, okay, whatever. So first of all, I wanna talk about, I do not like the layout of this palette. It's like, for the everyday person, I know maybe this is not for the everyday person, I'm sure that this is like her conceptualization and her dream palette or whatever, but you know, if you're making it for other people to also purchase, this is a mess. To me, the layout is a mess. How hard would it have been, you know, because these two line up and that like feels right to me. This helps people out when you do like, okay, this shade with this shade underneath it, or if you did pink with this pink underneath it, or like purple with this purple underneath it, and then put these like more neutral shades under the other neutral. Like, move this over. Like, I think I saw somebody on Reddit, I can't remember, and if I can find it, I'm gonna look for it, but if I can find it, somebody did reorganize this palette. Maybe it wasn't this palette, maybe it was a different one, but this palette is in desperate need of reorganization. Not only that, if they had done that, it would have really saved a lot of people, in my opinion, because when you like have to keep going back and forth, if you're doing like a pink, all pink look or whatever, these shades are really powdery. There's a lot of fallout or like kickback, so like when you touch these shades, holy, hello, really powdery. When you touch these shades, a lot of it pops up, so then it like leaks over into these, it gets into these, like these shades are really powdery and like crumbly, and they just fall into the other one and it mixes. I'm like, this is just a mess. It's a hot mess. Like, it's just not helpful to, you know, again, the average everyday person. And I've even seen like influencers kind of struggling. Like, I don't think I've seen one look that I really loved with this palette yet, and that's not any, you know, shade at anybody else, because everybody else is way more talented than me when it comes to makeup, but I feel like these are just not my favorite looks being created. And anyway, let's continue on. So here's another thing that I haven't seen anybody say except for my friend on Instagram. Her name is Steffi B on Instagram, and she's the only person that said this, and like, she's very honest on there, and you should definitely follow her. These two shades right here, Soul and Loves. They're probably the most different matte shades in the palette. They have like a shimmer in them. They're not totally matte. Like there's a sheen to them. Yesterday when I tried to do an eye look with this, it made my eyelids look so old. It aged me like 40 years. And I looked at my eye because it creates texture on your eye. So it just makes you look so old. Your eyelids just look crusty. Like there's no reason. Like I don't understand what the reason is why those shades have shimmer in them. Like they really have genuine shimmer. You can see it if you buy it. So that's why I wanted to make this video really quickly, because that threw me for a loop and I don't like that at all. And it just, to me, was like a mess. There's not really a whole lot of, well, there's some formula problems that I'll get into in a second, but formula is like fine for the most part. It's not really like the subculture thing. By the way, I really felt like the subculture was like a creative masterpiece. Like I really thought that was different, cool, amazing. There were so many different looks. It was just cool, you know? This one I don't think so as much. Let's get into like the different shades. So there is a formula problem in my opinion with a couple of shades, but for the most part, yeah, it is kind of like the Modern Renaissance palette, I guess. There is a lot of kick up, you know, you're gonna get that. I even use a very dense synthetic brush, which never gives me kick up in any other palette because it's just so fluffy and dense and soft, and it gave me like a ton of kick up. This is the one that I'm talking about. It's the Beauty Creations. It is the softest brush that I own, and it's just like, it's like perfectly set up. There's no like gaps in it. It blends like the best out of any brush ever, and it's from like their Caparella set or something like that. Even then, it's just so much kick up in these shades, and it's just, it bothers me because honestly, it falls down on my eyes. I can't stand fallout and like kick up, and I wasn't a huge fan of the Modern Renaissance as it was anyway. If I'm being totally honest, like I just don't reach for it. Let's just go over a few of these shades. I'm like, what on earth, dude? This shade right here is called Eccentric. Huh? Like what? I honestly, like that's probably the least eccentric shade in this palette besides Base. No, I think it actually is the least eccentric. Like I said, the formula problems in this one, these two have, in my opinion, a glaring formula problem because they are so crumbly, especially Dazzling. I'll show you in a second. It feels like you're touching an ancient ruin. It just crumbles. It is like pieces fall onto your eye. I used rose gold yesterday, and I'm not even kidding. It was like a Fallout City all under my eye, and there was like literally nothing I could do. I even set down like loads of powder, as I always do, because I wear too much makeup, and I couldn't get rid of it. Like I couldn't brush it away. It was because it's like so soft. A little bit gets on you, it's like the pigment just runs off. I mean, it's just, it was a mess in my opinion. It was a mess. If I'm being totally honest, the only shades that are really different in my opinion are Wild Child and Celestial, but even then you can find Celestial probably in something else. So like Wild Child, in my opinion, is really the only one, or maybe like these two too are like, you know, they're different, but you're gonna see the rest of these shades in any other palette. Like really, you're gonna see those in any other palette. God, I just look at this palette, I'm like, where do I start? You know, like where do you even start with a eyeshadow look? It would have been a lot better if it was reorganized and rearranged. I just, like this to me is like a headache. This shade Summer right here, oh my God. It's called Summer, but it's a cool toned shade. I can't understand that. Like it's very cool toned. If I put it next to another shade, let me put it next to another shade that makes me actually think of summer. I just like, for me in the summer, I never put cool toned on my lid. And I understand people are gonna be like, oh, well, it's a cool tone. This is like warm, you know what I mean? This is like a warm bronze. This is cool. Like that almost looks like a rose gold. It looks like a rose gold, honestly, when you look at it. Yeah, it really does, whoa. And then these shades are like, those aren't that different. Anyway, these are so crumbly. Let me just show you right now how crumbly. I should have showed you that, but like, see these little chunks? These fall out onto your, like it's on my clothes right now. Let me show you again, because I need to show you, like, here's my finger, right? It's so chunky glittery. I know, my fake tan, I know. Here we go. Like, see all these chunks? It's chunky, and you would have to like literally go like this on your eye and just scrape like across in order to avoid fallout. Let me show you this palette. This is just like what came to mind. This is not exactly like it. I feel like this is like a really close palette in terms of like formula, and these are like all the same shimmers kind of, but this is like for way cheaper. Like I said to my grandma, because you know, she's not somebody who's active in the makeup community, doesn't really care, and I was like, isn't $42 like kind of a lot to you? Because sometimes I feel like as a beauty YouTuber or watching a lot of YouTube videos, we're kind of like conditioned to be like, oh, $42, that's no big deal, you know, whatever. $42 is a lot of money for a palette. I mean, that's almost $50, and $50 is a lot to people. You know, this is the NYX Metal palette, so you're gonna get a lot of those really high impact shades with these, and you can like mix and match. I don't like it, you guys. I don't think that a lot of people will get a ton of use out of this. I really don't. Like if you want to like maximize your purchase, or you know, I don't know, if you want to not buy things that you're not gonna really use. I mean, if you're a collector, maybe. And then this Drama shade, I had a problem with this yesterday. It's so, what's the word? It's so hard. Like it's so hard, and it is so not easy to blend, and it just like, you're like, what? Like it's crumbly stuff in it. And again, there's no like really dark, deep shade, like matte shade to deepen up your eye looks with. You're gonna have to go into another palette for that. For $42, should you really have to go into another palette? Like, you know what I mean? If you wanna buy it, then you certainly can. This is just my personal opinion. I don't want anyone to get upset because it's just makeup, but I just wouldn't purchase this palette. I wanted to get this review out there because I did use it and didn't like it. It's not worth your money in my personal opinion. I did see a lot of positive reviews, so I did want to get something else out there, something else for you guys to think about that I haven't seen yet. A lot of this stuff hasn't been said yet. I just want to show you too, like really close. Can you guys see how crumbly this shade is right here? I'm sorry that I didn't include swatches in this video. For the most part, I know that they're in other videos that you guys can watch. I know you probably are watching several of these videos, so I'm just gonna kind of skip all of those things. If you do have the palette, I would love to know your thoughts down below. If there's something that, you know, maybe you don't agree with or whatever, let me know. And like I said, this is not meant to be like, you know, rude, or I'm trying to get views off of it. I just really want you guys to save your money and get like the whole story on it. I don't know. I think a lot of people tend to say, oh, I really love this just because she's a creative person. And they're like, oh, this is somebody being creative. I don't really care, you know what I mean? It's like, this is, you know, this is my money. This is your money that you work hard for, so. Anyway, any other questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.
Just had to say you're the only one. I can't deny you to stall any longer. Girl, you have done the impossible.